Hello friends, welcome to our channel called Expat in Germany. My name is Sharath. Are you someone who is planning to come to Germany or someone who is already here and wondering where all your money is going? Then this video is for you. Often people describe Germany as one of the most affordable countries to stay in if you compare it with West European countries. West European countries like Norway, Denmark or Switzerland definitely have a cost of living which is far superior than Germany. But when you come to Germany and see the ground reality of Germany, I'm sure that people who are coming to Germany with an expectation of expenses like this will have to really be facing an expenses that are on this level. Your expectation about the cost of living in Germany will be very far from what we are going to be covering in this video, because we are going to be covering the ground reality of all the different type of expenses that a person can come across in their life in Germany. This is coming from my personal experience, so this video is going to be super useful for anybody who is planning to come to Germany, so that they have a very clear picture of the expenses that they have to bear in mind and how much amount you should be keeping in your bank account when you are coming here. Let's start off with the biggest chunk of the expense that one has to face. Yes, I am talking about rent. If you are planning to stay in places like Munich, Frankfurt or Hamburg, these can range from 1,200 euro to 1,800 euro. If you are planning to stay in a place like Berlin, maybe the range is slightly less. It would come to around 900 euro to 1,400 euro. If you plan to stay in small cities in the outskirts or some villages, then this range can be from 600 euro to 900 euro. But bear in mind that maybe you will not get so much of job opportunities in these small towns. If you're lucky to find a combination of a good job in a small town, yes, that would be a perfect dream to have. But the reality is that only in these big places is where you have major chunk of job opportunities. So yeah, the ranges of that I have spoke about is coming around 1,200 to 1,800. What I am talking here is the cold rent. In Germany, we have a concept of cold rent and warm rent. The cold rent would mean the basic rent that one has to pay per month, but over that you have some additional expenses that you have to pay for. For example, the heating. So in the winter, you will have the situation where you have to turn on the heater. So the heating is an additional expense other than the normal basic rent that you are paying. You might be using some water, so this will also add to the cost. So usually what the landlords do is they might charge from 150 to 300 euros additional to the amount that I just quoted. Other than that, if you are somebody who's using internet, which is pretty common, then you have to pay somewhere around 20 to 30 euros for the internet services. For the electricity, the normal range is between 60 to 80 euro. That is based on my experience. I'm staying here as a couple, so yeah, this is around the expenses that I am coming across. But other than these expenses, what takes a shock is the radio tax. Yes friends, in Germany we have a concept called as radio tax. What radio tax means is like they want to keep the broadcasting completely independent of any private players, and for that reason everybody will pay in amount so as to keep the media completely free of any influence. And for that, friends, you are going to pay around 20 euro per month. So this also adds to all the living expenses related to rent that one should be ready to pay. Friends, next let's talk about insurance. I am talking about public health insurance. It is mandatory for anybody who is residing in Germany, whether it be a student or a professional, to have a health insurance. It can be a public health insurance or it can be a private health insurance. What happens for a professional is this public health insurance is also co-sponsored by the employer. That basically means that when you are quoted an income, this income is always a gross income you are quoted. That is not the amount that you are going to get in hand. The income that you get in hand is called as the net income, and this difference will also have a contribution of around 18% of the gross income, which goes into the premium for this particular insurance. And there is equal contribution also coming from the employer to give you this insurance. It's a very good insurance to have because you can decide which public health insurance provider you want to go with. There are plenty of options. I will list down some options for you in the links down below. It covers all the expenses, especially with the prescriptions, with the doctor visits or any other medical expenses that you are coming across. All of this gets covered with this public health insurance. There are also some people who go and opt for private health insurance, but then this costs around 150 to 300 euros, and I have not seen many expats who go with this private health insurance option. The private health insurance option is only helpful if you're going for additional things like maybe dental or some other things which normally the public health insurance will not cover. Other than the health insurance, the very important insurance that each one of you should have is called as liability insurance. Why it is important, I will give you a few scenarios. So for example, if you're renting out an apartment and maybe you end up damaging the property of the landlord and the amount is coming to 3,000 4,000 euros something, then this insurance will go and support you, because the amount that you are ending up paying may be around 45 to 70 euros for a complete year, but these type of claims is then receivable from the insurance company and you can pay off these big amounts which might come as a liability. Another example is that when you're walking on the street and maybe you hit a bicycle because you're walking also on the cycle lane, then you are liable to pay for this bicycle that got damaged, and at that time again the liability insurance comes in role. You just have to provide enough evidences of what happened and they will provide this amount to the person who is putting it forward as a claim against you. So super important, liability insurance you should definitely have. There's a link down below called Get Safe Liability Insurance. I've opted for that and they are giving a pretty good service, and many of my colleagues are also opted in for that. I have put in the comments, you can check the link and get access to this one if you're already in Germany. Next, let's talk about transportation in Germany. Most of the people that I know have gone in for golden ticket, that is called as Deutschlandticket. The reason I call it a golden ticket is that if you have this ticket, you do not have to worry about transportation at all. The reason is that you can go into any place in Germany using this ticket, because this ticket is valid not only in bus but also on trains, also on regional trains. So that means that you have complete flexibility to go around anywhere. You just have to show this ticket and you are good to go. This is the best approach to go forward, at least in the initial year, because let me tell you that if you want to go for a driving license, that is going to cost you around 2,500 to 3,500 euro. So my favorite mode of transportation is using the public transportation. They are super nice. I'm not saying that they will always be on time, but their network is so big enough that you don't feel the need for having a car if you are in Germany. Friends, let's now talk about income and taxes. Most important thing that you have to understand is that across globe, wherever you see salary quoted in Germany, the amount that is being quoted is the gross salary. It doesn't mean that that is the amount that you will get in hand. Just to give you an example, if there is somebody who is getting a gross salary of around 3,500 euro per month, then the net in hand salary would come to around 2,000 to 2,200 euro. That is just a rough amount, friends. Just it depends again upon the tax class this person is. If this person is coming as a single, he will have to pay more tax as compared to somebody who is coming with a partner who is not working. Then the taxes get reduced accordingly. Depending upon the situation of your marital status, the tax class can be different, and that's how the taxation works. So if you know already the gross salary that you are expecting, then what you can do is, I have put in the link of a calculator. You can put in your gross salary, you can put in the tax class that you fall under. If you happen to be Christian, then you have to also include 10% church taxes that is getting deducted from the salary. And if you happen to be of other religion, maybe that is not an amount that you have to pay. So you can put in all these values and get to know what is the net salary that you will end up receiving on the gross salary that the HR has quoted. That is a very important information for you if you are planning to come to Germany and you have a salary already quoted for you for your job. One of the best advice that my friend gave when I came to Germany was to open a Wise account, and I can tell you countless situations where this account has actually saved me. What you will find in Germany is that if you pay some amount in cash, say for example you are paying for your grocery and the amount comes to 3.90, In general practice, if you give a €5, you would expect maybe you end up getting €1 back. No, they will give you in pennies, and it's very difficult to manage this with coins. So it's important that if you have a Wise account, it comes with a card which can be digitally stored in your wallet if you happen to use Apple devices or Samsung devices, and it will be very easy for you to tap and pay these small amounts on grocery shops and all the places. This particular card is super helpful. Particularly, I remember when I was traveling to Denmark and Norway, I found that they were not very much accepting of euro, and I had the situation that I only had euros in hand, and that was the time when I found that Wise was super saving for me, because it helped me pay this amount right on the go by just tapping. They did the currency conversion and all of that right in the mobile, and they only charge the online rate, so there is no much of additional expenses that comes with this currency exchanges. It is coming out to be way cheaper as compared to you going and paying somebody as a currency exchanger to get this amount converted for you. So one piece of advice I will definitely give you: if you do not have a Wise account yet, please do open it. And given you certain links down below, you can click on it, and that will give you some special discounts also. The last time when I checked it, it was giving you around €300 of currency conversion, totally free of cost for everybody who is going to join using those links. If you remember these names correctly, I'm sure you will also have a very good experience when it comes to grocery shopping. If you're someone who is looking for budget or affordable shopping, then you can go for Aldi, Penny, and Lidl. But other than that, there are also premium options like Reve and Edeka. The quality of food might be slightly better, it seems, but they are coming at a slightly higher rate. If you look at the normal budget shopping, would come to around 180 to €250 per person, or if you go for the premium option, maybe it will go to around €250 to €350. If you look at the food expenses that you will come across if you're planning to eat outside, if you go for something like a sandwich or a donor, maybe €6 to €8. If you want to eat a meal outside, maybe €15 to €20. If you hit a restaurant during the weekdays in the afternoon, maybe it is still cheaper, you can get for €10. But if in normal timing like evening or the weekends, then this is slightly up, that is €15 to €20. Friends, now let's talk about the hidden costs that nobody really talks about. I am talking about expenses like apartment deposits. Whenever you are going for a new apartment, it means that you have to pay 3 months of cold rent in advance. Important thing to note here is that most of the apartments that are available in Germany will not have any furniture, it will not have curtains or lighting. So you will have to end up furnishing the apartment for making it ready for you to live. There are costs like anmeldung and bureaucracy costs. Say for example, when you are coming in Germany, there has to be a house anmeldung that you will have to do just to make sure that the government knows that you are living in so and so place, and this will be some additional charges that nobody generally talks about. If you are coming in Germany and if you want to also learn the language, then there are additional expenses you are looking at. The costs of learning the language is very expensive. It's coming around €350. So friends, with that we come to the most important question that you are waiting for. How much should you be having in hand in order to live comfortably in Germany? So friends, the rent and utilities I have put in around 1200, around groceries I can put in around 300, with for transportation, let's say it is €63 currently. Health insurance, again it can be variable. For leisure and extra activities that you might want to do, it costs around €300. So a comfortable range of income would come to around 2300 to 2800. And if you have that kind of salary, then you can still live comfortably. Maybe you will not be ending up saving a lot of money, but there are a lot more videos coming on how you can end up saving a lot of money in Germany in this channel. I just want to say that Germany can be affordable, if you are planning to come to Germany. If you know what to expect, then things can be affordable. If you make conscious choices, it is still possible for you to survive in Germany with less amount, and you can also end up saving some amount and invest. There is scalable capital which I personally use, wherein I am investing already in bonds and stocks and already getting some good profit in there. So it's important that when you are moving to a new country, you have to also get invested in their economy by investing in the stocks or the mutual funds that they have. Friends, with this we come to the end of this video. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care.